You have spent your entire life thinking you are a character in the story, subject to the whims of the writer. Ernest Holmes revealed the ultimate logic. You are not the character, you are the writer. You are the first cause of your own universe. Everything that happens to you, every check in the mail, every illness, every heartbreak, is simply an echo of who you believe you are. The moment you shift your identity from the victim to the cause, the entire script changes instantly. This is not philosophy. This is not motivation. This is the mathematical certainty of a law that governs all manifestation. You have been operating the machinery of creation in reverse, and today we reverse the reversal. The pain is the feeling of being small, insignificant, and powerless against the real world. You wake up each morning and check the news, the bank account, the diagnosis, as if these external forces hold the pen that writes your fate. You have been taught to bow before circumstance, to negotiate with conditions, to plead with a universe that seems indifferent to your suffering. But here is the reverse bridge that Holmes constructed. You are a giant acting like an ant. You are terrified of the shadows you are casting. Every limitation you face is not imposed upon you by some external tyrant. It is the perfect, lawful reflection of the identity you have unconsciously claimed. The world is not your master. It is your mirror. Holmes promises that when you accept your supreme identity, that your mind is a localized point of the divine mind, you stop begging for changes and start commanding them. You realize that the world must adjust to your self-concept. This is not arrogance, this is accurate science. The universal law does not debate with you. It does not judge your worthiness. It simply takes the blueprint of your identity and manufactures the corresponding reality with absolute precision. When you identify as powerless, the law creates powerlessness. When you identify as the cause, the law creates causation. The machinery is neutral. The operator is you. The tragedy of human existence is not that we lack power, but that we have forgotten we possess it. You have been conditioned to see yourself as the effect of 10,000 causes: the economy, your upbringing, your genetics, your past mistakes. But Holmes discovered the hidden variable in the equation. You are not the effect. You are the first cause masquerading as an effect. The moment you remember this, the entire architecture of your reality begins to reorganize itself around your true identity. This is the promise. Total sovereignty, complete authorship, mathematical certainty that your world will conform to your self-image. In this video, we will execute the Identity Shift Protocol, how to scientifically prove to yourself that you are in charge. This is not a meditation. This is not a prayer. This is a surgical procedure performed on the operating table of consciousness. We will dismantle the false identity that has been running your life like a virus in the system, and we will install the master program, I am the cause. Every technique, every principle, every word in this transmission is designed to collapse the illusion of your smallness and reveal the magnitude of your true nature. You will learn to walk differently, speak differently, and think differently, not because you are pretending, but because you have remembered who you actually are. But there is a trap called the dual identity. Most people try to be a god in the morning and a victim in the afternoon. They declare their power at dawn and surrender it by noon. They speak affirmations while harboring victim stories. They claim abundance while identifying with lack. This splits your power in half. It creates a short circuit in the manifestation mechanism. The law receives contradictory blueprints and produces contradictory results. In Part 4, I will show you how to seal the crack, how to maintain the single unified identity of the cause throughout every moment of your day, regardless of what the old evidence is still showing you. This is where mastery lives. Right now, in the comments below, type the words, I am the cause. This is not a symbolic gesture. This is a declaration of sovereignty. This is you signing the document that transfers all power from the external world back to its rightful owner, you. When you write these words, you are not asking for permission. You are not hoping for validation. You are claiming the throne that has always been yours. The moment you make this declaration, the universal law begins the process of rearranging every atom of your experience to match this new identity. Subscribe to this channel if you are ready to stop being a character and become the author. Now let us build the foundation, The central concept that Ernest Holmes brought into scientific clarity is known as the Law of Correspondence. He taught, "As within, so without." This is not a poetic metaphor. This is not a spiritual suggestion. This is mechanics. This is the blueprint of how reality is constructed. Your external world is a physical printout of your internal identity. Every condition you see in your life, the money in your account, the health in your body, the love in your relationships, is the materialized form of the identity you hold in consciousness. The law of correspondence operates with the precision of a mathematical equation. It cannot produce an output that contradicts the input. If you identify as poor, the universal law must generate poverty to validate you. The law is not cruel. It is not punishing you. It is simply faithful. It is the most loyal servant you will ever encounter. It says, "You have declared yourself to be X, and therefore I will manufacture X in every corner of your experience." The problem is that most people are unconscious of the identity they are claiming. They do not realize that every time they say, "I am broke, I am sick, I am unlucky," they are issuing a command to the law. They think they are describing reality, but they are actually creating it. Holmes understood that the phrase "I am" is the name of God within you. It is the creative power of the universe localized in your consciousness. Whatever you place after "I am" becomes your personal law. To change the printout, you do not mess with the paper. You do not fight with the external conditions. You do not try to manipulate the effects. You change the data in the computer. The computer is your identity. The data is your self-concept. If you want a different life, you must become a different person. Not in behavior first, but in identity first. Holmes called this the law of mental equivalence. You can only attract into your life that which corresponds to your mental equivalent. If you see yourself as a victim, you will attract victimizing circumstances. If you see yourself as powerful, you will attract empowering opportunities. The law does not care which identity you choose. It only cares that it matches the output to the input with perfect fidelity. This is why affirmations fail for most people. They stand in front of a mirror and say, "I am rich," while internally identifying as poor. The law reads the internal identity, not the words. The words are just noise, the identity is the signal. Holmes taught that you must feel the identity before you can claim the identity. You must inhabit the state of the person who already has what you want. This is not pretending. This is not lying to yourself. This is recognizing that the person who has what you want is not a different person. It is a different version of you, operating from a different identity. That version already exists in potential. Your job is to step into it. The law of correspondence is impersonal, but it is not indifferent. It responds to everyone equally. It does not favor the lucky or punish the unlucky. It simply mirrors back to you the image you are holding of yourself. This is why two people can be born into the same circumstances and produce radically different lives. One identifies as a victim of circumstance, the other identifies as the creator of circumstance. The law gives each of them exactly what they have claimed. Holmes said, "Change your thinking, change your life." But he was not talking about positive thinking. He was talking about identity thinking. What you think about yourself is the mold into which the substance of the universe pours itself. If you identify as someone who struggles, the law will generate struggle. If you identify as someone who flows, the law will generate flow. The conditions of your life are not random. They are not accidents. They are not punishments or rewards from an external God. They are the lawful mechanical consequences of the identity you are broadcasting. Holmes called this the science of mind, because it operates with the predictability of science. Drop a ball, it falls. Claim an identity, the law manifests it. There is no mystery here, there is only cause and effect, and you are the cause. The world does not happen to you. The world happens from you. Every person you meet, every opportunity you encounter, every obstacle you face, all of it is the universe arranging itself to reflect your self-concept back to you. If you believe you are unworthy, you will meet people who treat you as unworthy. If you believe you are valuable, you will meet people who recognize your value. The law of correspondence does not create new rules for you. It simply enforces the rules you have already created for yourself through your identity. Most people are living under a set of self-imposed laws that they do not even remember writing. Holmes came to remind you, you wrote the laws, you can rewrite them. The key to rewriting the laws is to stop identifying with the conditions and start identifying with the power. You are not the broke person trying to get rich. You are the rich person who is currently experiencing a temporary lack of evidence. You are not the sick person trying to get well. You are the well person who is currently experiencing a temporary symptom. This is not denial. This is accurate metaphysics. Holmes taught that your true identity is spirit, and spirit is always whole, always abundant, always free. The conditions are just the old printouts from the old identity. When you change the identity, the printouts change automatically. The law of correspondence is the bridge between the invisible and the visible. It is the mechanism by which thought becomes thing. Holmes said, thoughts are things, but more accurately, identities are things. Your habitual self-concept is the seed that grows into the tree of your life. If you plant a seed of lack, you will harvest a crop of lack. If you plant a seed of abundance, you will harvest a crop of abundance. The law does not judge the seed, it only grows it. This is why Holmes insisted that you must become conscious of your identity. You must audit your self-concept. You must ask yourself, who do I believe I am? Because whoever you believe you are, that is who you will become in form. The law of correspondence is not something you can escape. You are always using it. The question is whether you are using it consciously or unconsciously. Most people are unconscious creators. They identify with their problems, their past, their limitations, and then they wonder why their life keeps reflecting those things back to them. Holmes came to make you a conscious creator. He came to teach you how to identify with your power, your potential, your divine nature, so that the law can reflect that back to you instead. This is the shift from victim to cause. This is the shift from effect to creator. This is the shift that changes everything. The beauty of the law of correspondence is that it is immediate. The moment you change your identity, the law begins to respond. It does not wait for you to prove yourself. It does not require evidence. It simply takes the new blueprint and begins construction. The old conditions may still be visible for a time, but they are already dissolving. The new conditions are already forming. Holmes called this the time lag between cause and effect. But the cause is instant. The effect is inevitable. When you claim a new identity, you have already set the wheels of creation in motion. The universe has no choice but to correspond to your new self-concept. This is the foundation upon which everything else is built. The law of correspondence is the master key. It is the code that unlocks the entire system. Once you understand that your external world is a mirror of your internal identity, you stop fighting with the world and start working with the law. You stop trying to change the reflection and start changing the face. You stop manipulating conditions and start transforming consciousness. Holmes said, the external is the internal made manifest. Therefore, if you want to change the external, you must first change the internal. This is not philosophy, this is physics. This is the science of self. The law of correspondence is why your life looks the way it does right now. It is not because of your parents, your economy, your luck, or your past. It is because of your identity. The moment you accept this, you reclaim all your power. You stop being a victim of circumstance and become the author of your destiny. Holmes promised that when you understand this law and apply it consciously, you can redesign your entire life from the inside out. You can become anyone you choose. You can create anything you desire. Because the law of correspondence will always, always, always match the outer to the inner. This is the unshakable foundation. This is the science of self. The unshakable logic that Holmes used to explain this law is the analogy of the projector light. Imagine you are sitting in a movie theater. You are watching a film on the screen. The images move, the story unfolds, and you become absorbed in the drama. But here is the hidden truth. The screen is not creating the movie. The screen is simply reflecting the light that is passing through the film reel. You are the light passing through the film. The film is your self-image. The screen is your life. If you do not like the movie, it is useless to yell at the screen. You must change the film. This is the logic that dismantles all confusion about how manifestation works. The light is God, the universal power, the infinite intelligence that flows through all things. Holmes called it the one mind. This light is neutral. It has no preferences. It has no agenda. It does not care whether you project a tragedy or a comedy onto the screen of your life. It will project either one with equal enthusiasm, with equal power, with equal precision. The light is not your problem. The light is always shining. The light is always available. The light is always ready to create. The problem is the film you have placed in the projector. The film is your identity. The film is your self-concept. The film is the story you are telling yourself about who you are. Most people are projecting a film of limitation onto the screen of their life. They have a film that says, "I am not enough. I am unlucky. I am broken. I am unworthy." And the light, being neutral and faithful, projects this film perfectly onto the screen. The person then looks at the screen and says, "See? I knew I was not enough. I knew I was unlucky." They think the screen is proving their identity, but actually, their identity is creating the screen. They are locked in a feedback loop of self-fulfilling prophecy. The film creates the image reinforces the film, and the cycle continues until the person becomes conscious enough to change the film. Holmes taught that the film is not permanent. It is not carved in stone. It is not your destiny. It is simply a pattern of thought that you have been running on repeat. The film is made of belief. It is made of assumption. It is made of the habitual way you see yourself. And because it is made of thought, it can be changed by thought. This is the great liberation. You are not stuck with the film you were given. You are not condemned to replay the same movie for the rest of your life. You can remove the old film and insert a new one. You can change the story. You can rewrite the script. And the moment you do, the light will project the new film onto the screen with the same faithfulness it projected the old one. The key is to understand that you are not the film. You are the light. The film is something you are using, not something you are. This is the identity shift that Holmes was pointing to. Most people identify with the film. They say, "I am this broken story. I am this history of failure. I am this pattern of lack." But Holmes said, no, you are the light. The light is the power of God within you. The light is the creative force of the universe. The light is infinite, eternal, and unchanging. The film is temporary, malleable, and under your control. When you stop identifying with the film and start identifying with the light, you reclaim your power to change the film whenever you choose. This is why fighting with your conditions is futile. If you do not like the images on the screen, you can try to cover them up, you can try to ignore them, you can try to wish them away, but none of that will work. The images are being projected from the film. As long as the film remains the same, the images will remain the same. Holmes said, you cannot solve a problem at the level of the problem. You must go to the level of cause. The cause is the film. The cause is your identity. Change the film, and the images change automatically. This is not magic. This is mechanics. This is the law of projection. The projector light analogy also reveals why willpower fails. Willpower is trying to change the screen. It is trying to force the images to be different without changing the film. You can use all your effort, all your discipline, all your determination to try to make the screen show something different, but the light is still projecting the old film. The moment you relax, the old images return. This is why diets fail, why resolutions fail, why most attempts at change fail. They are working at the level of effect, not cause. Holmes taught that true change happens when you change the film. When you change your identity, the screen changes effortlessly. You do not need willpower, you need a new film. The light does not judge the film. It does not say, this is a good film, I will project it brightly. This is a bad film, I will project it dimly. The light is impartial. It is impersonal. It is the law. It projects whatever film you place in the projector with absolute fidelity. This is the mathematical certainty Holmes spoke of. The law does not play favorites. It does not reward the virtuous and punish the wicked. It simply projects the film. If you place a film of abundance in the projector, the screen will show abundance. If you place a film of poverty in the projector, the screen will show poverty. The law is neutral. The choice is yours. This is the logic that makes you responsible for your life. Not responsible in the sense of blame, but responsible in the sense of responsibility. the ability to respond, the ability to choose, the ability to create. Holmes said, "You are not a victim of fate. You are the architect of fate. The film is in your hands. The projector is your mind. The light is the power of God flowing through you. You have everything you need to create any movie you desire. The only question is, what film will you choose? What identity will you claim? What self-concept will you project onto the screen of your life?" The projector light analogy also explains why the external world seems so solid, so real, so unchangeable. The images on the screen appear to have their own existence. They appear to be independent of you, but they are not. They are projections. They are effects. They are the visible manifestation of the invisible film. Holmes taught that the material world is not the cause of your experience. It is the effect of your consciousness. The world is not happening to you. The world is happening from you. The moment you understand this, you stop being intimidated by conditions. You stop being impressed by appearances. You recognize them for what they are, temporary images projected from a temporary film that you can change at any moment. Holmes said, "The universe is a spiritual system governed by mental law. The projector light is the spiritual system. Your mind is the mental law. The screen is the material world. The film is your identity. When you change the film, the law projects a new reality. This is not theory. This is not belief. This is testable, repeatable, demonstrable science. Change your self-concept, and your world changes. Change your identity, and your circumstances change. Change the film, and the movie changes. This is the unshakable logic. This is the law that cannot be broken. This is the foundation upon which all manifestation rests. The beauty of the projector light analogy is that it removes all confusion. It answers the question, why is my life the way it is? Because of the film you are projecting. It answers the question, how do I change my life, change the film? It answers the question, how long will it take? The moment you change the film, the light begins projecting the new images. There may be a time lag before the old images fade and the new images fully appear, but the cause is instant. Holmes taught that the law responds to you at the level of your conviction. If you change the film with absolute certainty, the screen changes rapidly. If you change the film with doubt and hesitation, the screen changes slowly. But the law always responds. The light always projects. The mechanism is always working. This is the unshakable logic that Ernest Holmes gave to the world. You are not a powerless observer of your life. You are the projectionist. You are the one who chooses the film. You are the one who controls what appears on the screen. The light is always available. The projector is always running. The only variable is the film. And the film is your identity. Change your identity and you change your life. This is not hope. This is not faith. This is law. This is science. This is the mechanics of manifestation. And now that you understand the logic, we move to the architecture. The precise steps to change the film and project a new reality onto the screen of your life. The required state for executing the identity shift protocol is sovereignty. This is not a feeling, this is not an emotion. This is a position. Sovereignty is the recognition that you are the operant power in your life. You are not a subject. You are not a citizen of circumstance. You are the king or queen of your own kingdom. The kingdom is your consciousness. The throne is your identity. And the moment you sit on that throne with full authority, the entire universe rearranges itself to serve you. Holmes taught that you must claim your divine inheritance. You must stop acting like a beggar and start acting like an heir. You are not asking for power. You are acknowledging the power you already have. Sovereignty begins with posture. Stand physically straighter. Not because posture creates power, but because posture reflects power. The way you hold your body is a signal to your subconscious mind about who you are. When you slouch, when you hunch, when you shrink yourself, you are telling your subconscious, I am small, I am powerless, I am afraid. But when you stand tall, when you lift your chest, when you hold your head high, you are telling your subconscious, I am powerful, I am confident, I am in control. Holmes understood that the mind and body are one system. Change the body, and you change the mind. Change the mind, and you change the body. Sovereignty is a full-body experience. Stop looking up at problems. Start looking down at them. This is a shift in perspective that changes everything. Most people look at their problems as if they are giants. They feel small in the presence of their challenges. They feel overwhelmed by their circumstances. But Holmes taught that you are not smaller than your problems. You are larger than your problems. You are the thinker. The problems are thoughts. The thinker is always greater than the thought. When you look down at your problems from the position of sovereignty, you see them for what they are. Temporary patterns in consciousness that you can dissolve with a new thought, a new identity, a new command. Sovereignty is not arrogance. Arrogance is the ego pretending to be powerful, while secretly feeling powerless. Sovereignty is the soul recognizing its true nature. It is the calm certainty that you are a point of expression for the infinite. Holmes said, "You are an individualization of God." This means you carry the full creative power of the universe within you. You are not a fragment. You are not a piece. You are the whole, expressed in a unique form. When you claim sovereignty, you are not claiming something that does not belong to you. You are claiming what has always been yours. You are simply remembering who you are. The state of sovereignty is accessed through declaration. You do not wait to feel sovereign before you claim sovereignty. You claim sovereignty and the feeling follows. This is the reverse of how most people operate. They wait for evidence before they believe. But Holmes taught that belief creates evidence. You must declare your sovereignty before the world reflects it back to you. You must say, "I am the operant power. I am the first cause. I am the author of my life." These are not affirmations. These are recognitions. You are not trying to become sovereign. You are acknowledging that you already are sovereign. Sovereignty requires detachment from outcomes. This is the paradox. You must care deeply about your desire, but you must not need the desire to validate your identity. If you need the money to prove you are worthy, you are not sovereign. If you need the relationship to prove you are lovable, you are not sovereign. If you need the healing to prove you are safe, you are not sovereign. Holmes taught that you must claim the identity first and let the conditions follow. The sovereign person does not derive their identity from their conditions. They impose their identity onto their conditions. The world does not tell you who you are. You tell the world who you are. The state of sovereignty is maintained through vigilance. You must guard your consciousness like a fortress. Every thought that enters your mind is either reinforcing your sovereignty or undermining it. Every word you speak is either a command from the throne or a complaint from the dungeon. Holmes said, "Watch your thoughts, they become your words. Watch your words, they become your actions. Watch your actions, they become your destiny." The sovereign person is not casual about their consciousness. They are precise, they are disciplined. They are intentional. They know that every moment of awareness is a moment of creation. Sovereignty is the foundation of the identity shift protocol. Without sovereignty, the protocol is just a technique. With sovereignty, the protocol is a law. When you execute the steps from a state of sovereignty, you are not hoping for change. You are commanding change. You are not requesting a new reality. You are decreeing a new reality. The universe does not respond to begging. It responds to authority. And the only authority it recognizes is the authority of consciousness. Holmes taught that the law is impersonal, but it is not inactive. It is always responding to the dominant vibration of your being. When your dominant vibration is sovereignty, the law has no choice but to manifest sovereignty in form. The shift from victim to sovereign is the most important shift you will ever make. It is the shift from powerless to powerful, from reactive to creative, from effect to cause. Holmes said, "The moment you accept your power, you become powerful." This is not a gradual process. This is an instant recognition. You do not become sovereign over time. You claim sovereignty in a single moment of realization. The moment you say, "I am the cause," and mean it with every fiber of your being, the shift is complete. Everything that follows is simply the outworking of that shift in the material world. Sovereignty is not a destination. It is a state you inhabit. It is a position you hold. It is a throne you sit on. And from that throne, you issue commands to the law. You do not ask the law to change your life. You tell the law to change your life. You do not wonder if the law will respond. You know the law will respond. Because the law is not a personality, it is a principle. And principles do not play favorites. They simply operate. When you align with the principle of sovereignty, the principle operates through you with absolute precision. This is the state you must enter before you execute the identity shift protocol. This is the mental preparation. This is the throne you must claim. Now let us execute the protocol. Step 1 of the identity shift protocol is the disidentification. You must stop saying, "I am sick" or "I am broke." This is not semantic games. This is surgical precision. When you say "I am" followed by a condition, you are putting your "I am," the name of God within you, into a small box. You are claiming that the condition defines you. You are telling the law, "This is who I am." And the law, being faithful, says, "Very well, I will make sure this is who you continue to be." Holmes taught that the phrase "I am" is the creative power of the universe localized in your speech. Every time you use it, you are issuing a command. Most people are unconsciously commanding their own limitation. The disidentification is the act of separating your true self from the temporary condition. You are not your bank account. You are not your diagnosis. You are not your relationship status. These are experiences you are having, not identities you are being. Holmes said, "You are not the body. You are not the mind. You are the spirit that uses the body and the mind." When you identify with the condition, you give it power over you. When you disidentify from the condition, you reclaim your power. You say, "I am currently experiencing a temporary lack, but that is not who I am." This is not denial. This is accurate metaphysics. The condition is real, but it is not ultimate. It is an effect, not a cause. Disidentification requires linguistic discipline. You must become conscious of every sentence that begins with "I am." Most people speak unconsciously. They say, "I am so tired. I am so stressed. I am so broke." Each of these statements is a decree. Each of these statements is a command to the law, and the law obeys. Holmes taught that your words are the mold into which the substance of the universe pours itself. If you say "I am tired," the universe says, "Let there be tiredness." If you say "I am powerful," the universe says, "Let there be power." The law does not judge your words, it simply fulfills them. Therefore, you must choose your words with the precision of a surgeon. When a condition appears that contradicts your desired identity, you must refuse to claim it. If a bill arrives, you do not say, "I am broke." You say, "I am experiencing a temporary appearance of lack, but I am abundance itself." If a symptom appears, you do not say, "I am sick." You say, "I am experiencing a temporary disturbance, but I am health itself." This is not lying. This is recognizing the difference between appearance and reality. Holmes taught that the material world is the world of effects. The spiritual world is the world of causes. You live in both worlds simultaneously. The question is, which world will you give your allegiance to? If you give your allegiance to the world of effects, you will be tossed around by every condition. If you give your allegiance to the world of causes, you will command every condition. The disidentification also requires emotional detachment. You must stop feeling victimized by your conditions. Victimhood is an identity. When you feel like a victim, you are claiming the identity of victim, and the law will give you more experiences that validate your victimhood. Holmes said, "What you resist persists." When you fight against a condition with anger, fear, or resentment, you are energizing it. You are feeding it with your attention. The disidentification is the act of withdrawing your energy from the condition. You do not fight it. You do not fear it. You simply refuse to identify with it. You say, "This is not me. This is just an old pattern playing out. I am something greater." Step 2 of the identity shift protocol is the re-identification. Once you have disidentified from the limiting condition, you must immediately re-identify with the desired state. You do not leave a vacuum. Nature abhors a vacuum, and so does consciousness. If you remove the old identity without installing a new one, the old identity will return. Holmes taught that you must replace the negative with the positive. You must replace the lie with the truth. You must replace the limited self-concept with the unlimited self-concept. The re-identification is the act of selecting the new avatar. Who is the version of you that has solved this problem? He is confident. He is generous. He is calm. Start claiming this. The re-identification is done through the I am statement. But this time, you are using it consciously, deliberately, strategically. You say, I am wealth, I am health, I am love, I am power. These are not wishes, these are not goals, these are declarations of identity. Holmes said, the man who knows who he is creates what he wants. When you know you are wealth, you do not need to chase money. Money chases you. When you know you are health, you do not need to fight disease. Disease dissolves in the presence of your consciousness. The re-identification is the act of claiming the identity that corresponds to the life you want to live. The re-identification must be felt, not just spoken. You cannot say, I am wealth, while feeling poor. The feeling is the signal that the law reads. Holmes taught that feeling is the secret. Feeling is the language of the subconscious mind. The subconscious does not understand words. It understands emotion. When you say I am wealth and feel the relief, the confidence, the freedom that wealth brings, you are impressing the subconscious with the new identity. The subconscious then communicates with the law, and the law begins to manifest the conditions that match the feeling. This is why affirmations without feeling are powerless. They are just noise. The feeling is the fuel. To generate the feeling, you must imagine the new identity as already real. Holmes taught the technique of mental equivalence. You must create a mental picture of yourself as the person who already has what you want. See yourself walking with confidence. See yourself speaking with authority. See yourself moving through the world as someone who is powerful, abundant, and free. The more vivid the mental picture, the more real the feeling. The more real the feeling, the stronger the impression on the subconscious. And the stronger the impression on the subconscious, the faster the manifestation in the material world. This is the science of mental imaging. The re-identification also requires consistency. You cannot claim the new identity for 5 minutes and then revert to the old identity for the rest of the day. Holmes said, consistency is the key to demonstration. You must live in the new identity. You must think from the new identity. You must speak from the new identity. You must act from the new identity. Every moment is an opportunity to reinforce the new self-concept or to undermine it. The sovereign person chooses to reinforce it. They guard their consciousness. They monitor their thoughts. They correct themselves when they slip back into the old pattern. This is not effort. This is vigilance. This is the discipline of mastery. Step 3 of the identity shift protocol is the walking state. This is where the rubber meets the road. You must move through your day as if the shift has already occurred. How does a wealthy man walk? How does a healed woman speak? You must wear the identity before the evidence appears. Holmes taught that the law responds to your state of being, not your state of having. If you wait for the money to arrive before you feel wealthy, you will never feel wealthy, because the feeling of wealth is what attracts the money. You must reverse the order. You must feel wealthy first, and the money will follow. This is the walking state. This is living from the end. The walking state is not pretending. It is not fake it till you make it. It is recognizing that the identity is more real than the condition. The condition is temporary. The identity is eternal. Holmes said, you are spirit first and matter second. When you walk as spirit, matter conforms to spirit. When you walk as matter, matter controls you. The walking state is the act of walking as spirit. It is moving through the world with the calm certainty that you are the cause, not the effect. It is responding to every situation from the position of power, not the position of lack. This is not arrogance. This is alignment with truth. The walking state requires behavioral shifts. You must change how you move, how you speak, how you interact with the world. If you are claiming the identity of a successful person, you cannot continue to behave like an unsuccessful person. Holmes taught that consciousness and behavior are two sides of the same coin. When you change your consciousness, your behavior changes automatically. But you can also use behavior to reinforce consciousness. When you walk with confidence, you feel more confident. When you speak with authority, you feel more authoritative. The body and the mind are in constant communication. Use this communication to your advantage. The walking state also means refusing to engage with the old story. When someone asks you how you're doing, you do not launch into a complaint about your problems. You say, I am excellent. I am thriving. I am in the process of a major transformation. This is not lying, this is speaking from the new identity. Holmes said, "Your words are the announcement of your consciousness." Every time you speak, you are either building your new reality or tearing it down. The sovereign person speaks only words that reinforce the new identity. They refuse to give voice to the old identity. They refuse to tell victim stories. They refuse to participate in conversations that lower their vibration. The walking state is maintained through moment-by-moment awareness. You must catch yourself when you slip back into the old identity, and you will slip. This is normal. The old pattern has momentum, but the moment you catch yourself, you correct yourself. You say, "No, that is not who I am. I am the cause. I am the power. I am the creator." Holmes taught that the law is always listening. Every thought, every word, every action is a communication with the law. The law does not judge whether you are consistent or inconsistent. It simply responds to whatever signal you are sending in this moment. Therefore, every moment is a new opportunity to send the signal of the new identity. The post technique is the final piece of the protocol. When the world contradicts you, when a bill arrives, when a symptom persists, when someone treats you poorly, you must laugh at it. Not because you are in denial, but because you understand the mechanics. The old evidence is just the old film still playing out. You have already changed the reel. The new movie is loading. Holmes taught that there is a time lag between cause and effect in the material world. The cause is instant. The effect takes time. But the cause has already been set. The new reality is already forming. The old reality is already dissolving. The evidence you see today is not the evidence you will see tomorrow. Therefore, you do not react to the old evidence. You remain anchored in the new identity. When the contradiction appears, you say, "This is just the old pattern completing itself. It has no power over me. I am the cause, and I have issued a new command. The law is already responding. The new conditions are already forming. I do not need to see them to know they are real." Holmes said, "Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen." But he did not mean blind faith. He meant the faith that comes from understanding the law. When you know the law is responding, you do not need evidence. You have certainty. And certainty is the most powerful vibration you can hold. When you hold certainty, the law manifests with speed and precision. The post technique is also about refusing to be impressed by appearances. Holmes taught that the material world is the world of effects, not causes. The causes are in consciousness. When you change the cause, the effect must change, but the effect may not change instantly. There may be a delay. During the delay, you must hold steady. You must maintain the new identity. You must refuse to let the old evidence pull you back into the old identity. This is the test. This is where most people fail. They change the identity for a day, and then the old evidence shows up, and they say, "See, it did not work." But it did work. The cause was set. They just did not hold the new identity long enough for the effect to manifest. The identity shift protocol is complete when you can look at the old evidence and feel nothing. No fear, no doubt, no reaction. Just calm certainty that the new reality is forming. Holmes said, "The test of your consciousness is how you respond to contradiction. If contradiction shakes you, your consciousness is weak. If contradiction amuses you, your consciousness is strong. The sovereign person is amused by contradiction. They see it as the death rattle of the old pattern. They see it as proof that the shift is working, because the old pattern always fights back before it dies. But it is already dead. It just does not know it yet, and neither does the world. But you know, and that is all that matters." The fatal mistakes that undermine the identity shift protocol are rooted in what Holmes called the dual identity. This is the most common reason people fail to manifest their desires. They claim the new identity in the morning and surrender it by afternoon. They declare "I am wealth" during their meditation, and then spend the rest of the day complaining about bills. They affirm "I am health," and then tell their friends about their symptoms. This creates a split in consciousness. The law receives two contradictory blueprints, one of power and one of powerlessness. And when the law receives contradictory blueprints, it produces contradictory results. Holmes taught that a house divided against itself cannot stand. A consciousness divided against itself cannot manifest. Mistake number one, which I promised to reveal in the opening, is the victim story. This is the act of calling a friend to say, "You will not believe what happened to me." This sentence is the death of sovereignty. The moment you tell a victim story, you are stepping back into the victim avatar. You are identifying with the condition. You are claiming that something external has power over you. Holmes said, "Every time you tell a story about your limitation, you are recreating that limitation." The story is not just a description of the past. It is a command to the law to continue the pattern. The law does not distinguish between past, present, and future. It only knows now. When you tell a victim story now, you are commanding the law to create more victim experiences now. A master never tells a victim story. A master only tells stories of overcoming. When someone asks, "How are you doing?" the master does not say, "I am struggling." The master says, "I am in the process of a powerful transformation." When someone asks, "What happened?" the master does not say, "I was victimized." The master says, "I encountered a challenge and I used it to become stronger." This is not dishonesty. This is choosing which identity to reinforce. Holmes taught that you are always telling a story about yourself. The question is, which story are you telling? Are you telling the story of the victim or the story of the victor? Because whichever story you tell, that is the story the law will make real. The victim story is seductive because it generates sympathy. When you tell people about your problems, they feel sorry for you. They validate your suffering. They agree that life is hard, and this feels good in the moment. But Holmes warned, sympathy is a trap. Sympathy reinforces victimhood. It makes you feel justified in your powerlessness. It makes you feel like your limitation is not your fault. But the moment you accept that your limitation is not your fault, you also accept that you are powerless to change it. The sovereign person does not want sympathy. The sovereign person wants power. And power comes from taking full responsibility for every condition in your life. The antidote to the victim story is the master story. The master story is the narrative of causation, not victimization. It is the story that says, "I created this condition through my old identity, and I am now creating a new condition through my new identity." The master story does not deny the condition, but it does not give the condition ultimate reality. It sees the condition as a temporary effect of a temporary cause, and because the cause is temporary, the effect is temporary. Holmes said, "Nothing is permanent except your consciousness. When you change your consciousness, everything else changes." The master story is the story of consciousness, not circumstance. Mistake number 2 is waiting for permission. This is the act of waiting for a sign, a synchronicity, a permission slip from the universe before you allow yourself to feel good. Holmes taught that you are the authority. You do not need permission from anyone or anything to claim your power. You do not need the universe to give you a green light. You are the universe. You are the green light. When you wait for permission, you are giving your power away. You are saying, "I am not enough to decide. I need something outside of me to validate my decision." But the moment you give your power away, you lose your power. The law responds to internal authority, not external validation. Waiting for permission is a subtle form of victimhood. It is the belief that something outside of you must change before you can change. But Holmes taught the opposite. You must change before something outside of you can change. You must claim the identity before the evidence appears. You must feel wealthy before the money arrives. You must feel healthy before the symptoms disappear. This is the reversal of cause and effect. Most people wait for the effect to give them permission to claim the cause, but the sovereign person claims the cause and commands the effect. They do not wait. They decree. The antidote to waiting for permission is self-authorization. This is the act of giving yourself permission. Holmes said, "You are the only authority in your life. No one else can give you what you refuse to give yourself. If you refuse to give yourself permission to be wealthy, no amount of money will make you feel wealthy. If you refuse to give yourself permission to be healthy, no amount of treatment will make you feel healthy. The permission must come from within." This is the signature of sovereignty. The sovereign person does not look outside for validation. They validate themselves. They authorize themselves. They crown themselves. Self-authorization is practiced through declaration. You say, "I give myself permission to be powerful. I give myself permission to be abundant. I give myself permission to be free. These are not requests, these are decrees. You are not asking the universe for permission. You are informing the universe of your decision. Holmes taught that the universe is waiting for you to decide. It is not withholding anything from you. You are withholding it from yourself. The moment you give yourself permission, the universe says, "Finally, let us begin." And the floodgates open, the resources appear, the opportunities arrive, the conditions shift. Because the law was always ready, you were the one who was not ready. The dual identity is the enemy of manifestation. It is the split between who you claim to be and who you actually believe you are. Holmes said, "You cannot serve two masters. You cannot be both the victim and the victor. You cannot be both powerless and powerful. You must choose, and the choice must be absolute. The choice must be total. The choice must be unwavering. This is the discipline of mastery. This is the vigilance of sovereignty. Every moment, you are choosing which identity to reinforce. Every thought, every word, every action is a vote for the victim or a vote for the victor. The law counts the votes, and whichever identity gets the most votes wins. The way to eliminate the dual identity is through relentless self-observation. You must become the watcher of your own consciousness. You must catch yourself every time you slip into victimhood, and when you catch yourself, you must correct yourself immediately. Holmes taught that the subconscious mind is like a garden. Whatever you plant, it grows. If you plant weeds, you get weeds. If you plant flowers, you get flowers. The dual identity is planting both weeds and flowers in the same garden and then wondering why the garden is a mess. The sovereign person pulls the weeds the moment they appear. They do not let the weeds take root. They maintain a pure garden, and in a pure garden, only flowers grow. The dual identity is also maintained by the company you keep. If you spend time with people who reinforce your victimhood, you will remain a victim. If you spend time with people who reinforce your power, you will remain powerful. Holmes said, "You become like the people you associate with. This is not judgment. This is mechanics. Consciousness is contagious. When you are around people who complain, you start to complain. When you are around people who create, you start to create." The sovereign person is selective about their associations. They do not spend time with people who pull them down. They spend time with people who lift them up. Or they spend time alone, in the presence of their own power. The elimination of the dual identity is the final step before full mastery. Once you have eliminated the split, once you have unified your consciousness around the single identity of the cause, the law responds with absolute precision. There is no more confusion. There is no more contradiction. There is only clarity. And in clarity, manifestation is instant. Holmes said, "When the mind is single, the body is full of light. This is the promise. This is the goal. This is the state of mastery. And it is available to you right now, in this moment, if you are willing to make the choice. The choice to be the cause. The choice to eliminate the victim. The choice to unify your consciousness around your true identity. This is the refinement. This is the mastery. This is the path." The master's tips that Holmes left us are the final keys to locking in the identity shift. These are not suggestions. These are commands from someone who mastered the law and lived its principles with mathematical precision. Holmes said, "Man is a center of God consciousness." This is not a metaphor. This is a statement of fact. You are not a fragment of God. You are not a servant of God. You are a center through which God expresses. God does not express as you. God expresses through you. This means you have access to the full power of the infinite. You are not limited by your body, your past, your circumstances, or your history. You are only limited by your willingness to accept your power. Holmes continued, "There is no limit to your power, save the limit you place upon yourself." This is the most important sentence you will ever hear. The limits you experience are not imposed by the universe. They are imposed by you. Every limitation in your life is a self-imposed limitation. It is a belief you are holding. It is an identity you are claiming. It is a story you are telling. And because it is self-imposed, it can be self-removed. You do not need anyone's permission to remove your limits. You do not need to earn the right to be unlimited. You simply need to stop limiting yourself. This is the master's tip. Stop placing limits on yourself. Stop saying, I cannot. Start saying, I can. And watch the universe rearrange itself to prove you right. Holmes taught that the law is no respecter of persons. This means the law does not care who you are, where you come from, or what you have done. The law responds to consciousness, not history. It responds to identity, not biography. You could have failed 1,000 times, and the law will still respond to you the moment you claim a new identity. You could have succeeded 1,000 times, and the law will abandon you the moment you claim a victim identity. The law is impersonal. It is impartial. It is mechanical. This is both terrifying and liberating. Terrifying because you cannot blame anyone else. Liberating because you can change everything right now. Another master's tip from Holmes: treat the law like a servant, not a master. Most people beg the law, they plead with the law, they negotiate with the law, but Holmes said, the law is your servant. It is designed to serve you. It is designed to fulfill your commands. When you treat the law like a master, you become a slave. When you treat the law like a servant, you become a king. This does not mean you are disrespectful to the law. It means you are confident in your authority. You issue commands with clarity and certainty. You do not ask the law if it can do something. You tell the law what to do, and the law obeys, because that is its nature, that is its function, that is its purpose. Holmes also said, the time to be happy is now. The place to be happy is here. Most people postpone their happiness. They say, I will be happy when I get the money. I will be happy when I find the relationship. I will be happy when I achieve the goal. But Holmes taught that happiness is not a result. Happiness is a cause. When you are happy now, you attract the conditions that match your happiness. When you postpone your happiness, you postpone your manifestation. The law responds to your current state, not your future state. If your current state is unhappy, the law will create more conditions that justify your unhappiness. If your current state is happy, the law will create more conditions that justify your happiness. Therefore, the master's tip is, be happy now. Not because you have a reason, but because you are the reason. Holmes taught the principle of mental acceptance. He said, you must accept in mind what you wish to experience in fact. This is the key to all manifestation. Acceptance is not hoping. Acceptance is not wishing. Acceptance is knowing. It is the calm certainty that what you desire is already yours in consciousness, and therefore it must appear in form. Most people do not accept. They want. They hope. They wish. But wanting implies lack. Hoping implies doubt. Wishing implies uncertainty. Acceptance implies certainty. And certainty is the vibration that the law responds to most powerfully. When you accept something in mind, you are no longer chasing it. You are no longer desperate for it. You are simply waiting for it to show up, and it always does. Another master's tip: do not outline how the law will fulfill your desire. Holmes warned against trying to control the how. He said, your job is to define the what. The law's job is to provide the how. When you try to control the how, you limit the law. You box it in. You tell it, you can only fulfill my desire in this specific way. But the law is infinitely creative. It has a million ways to fulfill your desire that you have never thought of. When you release the how, you allow the law to work in ways that are beyond your imagination. This is the art of surrender. Not surrender of your desire, but surrender of your control. You hold the vision, you maintain the identity, and you let the law surprise you with the delivery. Holmes also taught the importance of gratitude. He said, gratitude is the magnet that attracts more to be grateful for. When you are grateful for what you have, you are telling the law, I am abundant. And the law responds by giving you more abundance. When you complain about what you lack, you are telling the law, I am poor. And the law responds by giving you more lack. Gratitude is not just a nice feeling. It is a command to the law. It is a declaration of abundance. The master practices gratitude not because things are perfect, but because gratitude makes things perfect. Gratitude shifts your focus from what is missing to what is present, and what you focus on expands. Holmes said, the universe is for you, not against you. This is the ultimate reframe. Most people see the universe as hostile, indifferent, or punishing. But Holmes taught that the universe is a friendly place. It is designed to support you. It is designed to fulfill you. It is designed to express through you. When you see the universe as friendly, you relax. You stop fighting. You stop resisting. You start flowing. And in the flow, everything comes easily. The law does not resist you. You resist the law. When you stop resisting, the law flows through you like water through a pipe, and manifestation becomes effortless. The final master's tip from Holmes: live as though you are already the person you wish to become. This is the walking state taken to its ultimate conclusion. You do not wait to become that person. You are that person now. You think like that person. You speak like that person. You act like that person. You make decisions like that person. Holmes said, "Act as though I am and I will be." This is the law of assumption. When you assume the identity becomes real, not because you are pretending, but because identity is the cause and conditions are the effect. The moment you assume the identity, the law begins to create the conditions that match the identity. This is not magic. This is mechanics. This is the science of self. And now that you have the refinement, now that you have the master's tips, we move to the validation. We move to the proof that this is not theory. This is reality. The connection to quantum physics is where Ernest Holmes's teachings transcend spirituality and enter the realm of hard science. Holmes was teaching quantum mechanics before the term existed. He understood that the observer is not separate from the experiment. He understood that consciousness collapses the wave function. He understood that the act of observation creates reality. Modern quantum physics has now proven what Holmes taught a century ago. The universe is not a fixed, objective reality. The universe is a field of infinite possibilities, and consciousness is the force that selects which possibility becomes actual. This is not mysticism. This is physics. This is the observer effect. The observer effect states that the electron behaves differently depending on who is watching. When you observe the electron as a particle, it becomes a particle. When you observe the electron as a wave, it becomes a wave. The electron does not have an independent existence until it is observed. It exists in a state of potential until consciousness collapses it into actuality. Holmes understood this principle at the level of identity. You are the ultimate observer. When you observe yourself as powerful, you collapse the wave function of your life into power. When you observe yourself as powerless, you collapse the wave function of your life into powerlessness. The universe does not decide what you are. You decide what you are, and the universe conforms to your decision. This is why the identity shift protocol works. You are not trying to change an objective reality. You are changing the lens through which you observe reality. And when you change the lens, reality changes. Holmes said, change your thinking, change your life. But quantum physics says, change your observation, change your reality. These are the same statement. Thinking is observation. Identity is observation. The way you see yourself is the way the universe sees you. And the universe has no choice but to reflect back to you the image you are projecting. This is not belief. This is mechanics. This is the law of quantum observation applied to human experience. The double-slit experiment is the most famous demonstration of the observer effect. When scientists shoot electrons through a double slit without observing them, the electrons create an interference pattern, indicating they are behaving as waves. But when scientists observe the electrons, the interference pattern disappears, and the electrons behave as particles. The act of observation changes the behavior of the electron. Holmes would say, the act of self-observation changes the behavior of your life. When you observe yourself as a victim, your life behaves like a victim's life. When you observe yourself as a creator, your life behaves like a creator's life. The observation is the cause. The behavior is the effect. Quantum physics also reveals the principle of superposition. This is the idea that all possibilities exist simultaneously until one is observed. Holmes taught the same principle. He said, all possibilities exist in the infinite mind. Your job is to select which possibility you want to experience. You do this through identity. When you claim the identity of a wealthy person, you collapse the superposition of your financial reality into wealth. When you claim the identity of a healthy person, you collapse the superposition of your physical reality into health. The possibilities are infinite. The choice is yours. And the moment you make the choice, the universe begins to organize itself around that choice. This is why faith is not blind. Faith is quantum. Faith is the act of observing a possibility that has not yet manifested in form and treating it as real. Holmes said, "Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen." But quantum physics says, faith is the act of collapsing the wave function before the particle appears. When you have faith in your new identity, you are observing it into existence. You are not hoping it will become real. You are knowing it is real. And the universe, being a quantum field, has no choice but to reflect your knowing back to you in material form. The principle of entanglement also supports Holmes's teachings. Entanglement is the phenomenon where two particles become connected in such a way that the state of one instantly affects the state of the other, regardless of distance. Holmes taught that you are entangled with the universe. You are not separate from the universe. You are a point of expression within the universe. When you change your state, the universe changes its state. When you shift your identity, the universe shifts its response. This is not cause and effect in the linear sense. This is simultaneous co-creation. You and the universe are entangled. You are one system. Change yourself, and the system changes. Quantum physics also reveals that the past is not fixed. Experiments have shown that the present observation can change the past. This is called retrocausality. Holmes understood this. He said, "The past has no power over you unless you give it power." When you change your identity in the present, you change the meaning of the past. The events remain the same, but the interpretation changes. And because the interpretation is what creates your reality, changing the interpretation changes your reality. You are not a prisoner of your past. You are the author of your past. You can rewrite the story. You can reframe the events. You can extract the lessons and discard the trauma. This is quantum healing. The Heisenberg uncertainty principle states that you cannot know both the position and the momentum of a particle at the same time. The more precisely you know one, the less precisely you know the other. Holmes would say, you cannot be both the victim and the victor at the same time. The more you identify with one, the less you can identify with the other. This is the dual identity problem. You must choose, and the choice must be absolute. Quantum physics proves that observation is not passive. Observation is active. Observation is creative, and the observer determines the outcome. You are the observer. You determine the outcome. This is not theory. This is physics. The connection to quantum physics also explains why the time lag exists. In quantum mechanics, the collapse of the wave function is instant, but the manifestation in the material world takes time. The cause is instant. The effect is delayed. Holmes taught the same principle. He said, "The moment you claim the identity, the law responds. But the material world needs time to reorganize itself. The atoms need to rearrange. The circumstances need to shift. The people need to move." This is not a failure of the law. This is the nature of the material world. The cause is in the quantum field. The effect is in the material field. The quantum field is instant. The material field is gradual. But the cause always precedes the effect, and the effect always follows the cause. Quantum physics also reveals the principle of non-locality. This is the idea that particles can be connected across vast distances with no physical connection. Holmes taught that you are connected to everything in the universe through consciousness. You do not need to be physically present to affect something. You can affect it through thought. You can affect it through identity. You can affect it through intention. This is why remote healing works. This is why prayer works. This is why visualization works. You are not separate from what you are trying to change. You are entangled with it. And when you change your consciousness, the entangled reality changes. This is non-local causation. This is quantum manifestation. The final connection to quantum physics is the principle of the quantum field. This is the idea that the universe is not made of solid matter. The universe is made of energy, and energy is just vibration. Holmes taught that everything is vibration. Your thoughts are vibration. Your emotions are vibration. Your identity is vibration. And the law responds to vibration. When you change your vibrational identity, you change what the universe reflects back to you. This is not New Age fluff. This is quantum physics. The quantum field is responsive. It is intelligent. It is creative. And it is waiting for you to tell it what to create. You tell it through your identity. You tell it through your observation. You tell it through your consciousness, and it creates accordingly. Quantum physics proves what Ernest Holmes taught. You are not a powerless observer of a fixed reality. You are a powerful creator of a fluid reality. The universe is not happening to you. The universe is happening from you. The observer effect is not a quirk of subatomic particles. The observer effect is the fundamental law of existence. You are the observer. You are the cause. You are the creator. And when you accept this, when you claim this, when you live this, the entire universe reorganizes itself to match your claim. This is not faith. This is physics. This is the science of self. And now that you have the validation from science, let me give you the validation from experience. Let me give you the anecdote that proves this is not just theory. This is reality. The story I am about to share is the validation from lived experience. This is not a hypothetical. This is a real person who applied the identity shift protocol and experienced the mathematical precision of the law. There was an aspiring writer who had been rejected by every publisher. He had written 3 manuscripts. He had sent out over 100 query letters. He had received 100 rejection letters. He was on the verge of giving up. He identified as a struggling writer. He told everyone, "I am trying to get published, but no one wants my work." He wore the identity of rejection, and the law being faithful gave him more rejection. Then he encountered the teachings of Ernest Holmes. He read the science of mind. He understood the law of correspondence. He realized that he was not a struggling writer. He was a writer who was struggling because he identified as struggling. The struggle was not his identity. It was his experience. And the experience was the result of the identity. He decided to change the identity. He stopped saying, "I am a struggling writer." He started saying, "I am a best-selling author." This felt absurd at first. He had no evidence, he had no sales, he had no publisher. But he understood that evidence follows identity, not the other way around. He claimed the identity before the evidence appeared. He went to a bookstore and held a bestseller in his hands. He looked at the cover. He imagined his name on it. He felt the weight of the book. He felt the pride of the accomplishment. He felt the confidence of the success. He stood in that bookstore and inhabited the identity of a best-selling author. He did not pretend. He recognized. He recognized that the best-selling author was not a different person. It was a different version of himself. And that version was available to him right now in this moment, if he was willing to claim it. So he claimed it. He said, "I am a best-selling author." And he felt it. He felt it in his bones. He felt it in his soul. He felt it in his consciousness. He walked out of that bookstore as a different person. He walked with the dignity of a success. He spoke with the authority of a master. He stopped hanging out with complaining writers. He stopped attending workshops where people shared their rejection stories. He stopped participating in conversations that reinforced the identity of struggle. He guarded his consciousness like a fortress. Every time someone asked him how his writing was going, he said, "It is going brilliantly. I am in the process of a major breakthrough." He did not tell victim stories, he told master stories. He did not seek sympathy, he claimed sovereignty. Within a month, he was at a party. He was not there to network. He was not there to pitch his manuscript. He was simply there as a best-selling author enjoying a party, and because he was inhabiting that identity, he attracted the corresponding opportunity. An editor approached him. The editor was from a major publishing house. The editor said, "I hear you are a writer. What are you working on?" The writer did not say, "I am trying to get published." He said, "I am completing a manuscript that is going to change the industry." The editor was intrigued. The editor asked to see the manuscript. The writer sent it. Within 2 weeks, the editor offered him a contract. Within 6 months, the book was published. Within a year, it was a bestseller. This is not luck. This is not coincidence. This is the law of correspondence in action. The writer changed his identity. The law responded. The universe rearranged itself to match the new identity. The editor did not appear because the writer was talented. The editor appeared because the writer was sovereign. The writer was no longer begging for a break. The writer was commanding a reality. And the law, being faithful, delivered the reality. Holmes said, "The universe is always saying yes to you. The question is, what are you saying yes to yourself?" The writer said yes to the identity of a best-selling author, and the universe said yes to the writer. The key to this story is that the writer did not wait for the evidence. He did not wait for the contract before he claimed the identity. He claimed the identity first, and the contract followed. This is the reversal that most people miss. They think, "I will believe it when I see it." But Holmes taught, "You will see it when you believe it." Belief is not hope. Belief is identity. When you believe you are a best-selling author, you are claiming the identity of a best-selling author, and the law must manifest the conditions that match the identity. This is not magic. This is mechanics. This is the science of self. The writer also did something else that was crucial. He stopped looking for validation from the external world. He validated himself. He did not need a publisher to tell him he was a good writer. He told himself he was a good writer. He did not need a bestseller list to tell him he was successful. He told himself he was successful. This is self-authorization. This is the signature of sovereignty. The sovereign person does not wait for the world to give them permission. They give themselves permission, and the moment they do, the world has no choice but to reflect that permission back to them in material form. This story is the proof that the identity shift protocol works. It is not just a theory. It is not just a philosophy, it is a law. And laws are predictable, laws are repeatable, laws are demonstrable. If you apply the protocol with the same precision that the writer applied it, you will get the same results. Not because you are special, but because the law is impartial. The law does not care who you are. The law only cares about the identity you are claiming. Claim the identity of power, and the law will give you power. Claim the identity of success, and the law will give you success. Claim the identity of the cause, and the law will make you the cause. This is the validation. This is the proof. This is the science of self. The writer's story also demonstrates the importance of the walking state. He did not just claim the identity in his mind. He walked as the identity. He moved through the world as a best-selling author. He made decisions as a best-selling author. He spoke as a best-selling author. He carried himself as a best-selling author, and because he did, he attracted the opportunities that a best-selling author would attract. Holmes said, "You must be the thing before you can have the thing." The writer was the best-selling author before he had the bestseller. And because he was, he had. This is the law. This is the science. This is the validation. And now we move to the final part. We move to the transformation. We move to the synthesis of everything you have learned and the challenge that will determine whether you become the cause or remain the effect. The synthesis of power is the recognition that I am is the most powerful sentence in the universe. These two words are not just a phrase. They are the creative force of existence. They are the name of God within you. They are the command that the law obeys. Whatever you put after I am becomes your personal law. If you say I am weak, the law says, let there be weakness. If you say I am strong, the law says, let there be strength. The law does not judge your choice. The law simply fulfills your choice. Holmes taught that I am is the bridge between the invisible and the visible, between the potential and the actual, between the thought and the thing. Every time you use the phrase I am, you are issuing a decree. You are not describing yourself. You are creating yourself. Most people do not understand this. They think they are reporting facts when they say I am tired or I am broke. But they are not reporting facts. They are creating facts. The moment the words leave your mouth, the law goes to work to make those words true. This is why the master is so careful with language. The master knows that words are not neutral. Words are commands. Words are seeds. Words are blueprints. And the phrase I am is the most powerful word seed you can plant. The synthesis of power also includes the recognition that you are not separate from God. You are not a creation of God. You are an expression of God. Holmes said, God is not a being, God is being, and you are a localized point of that being. This means you have access to the full power of the infinite. You are not limited by your humanity. You are only limited by your belief in your humanity. When you identify as a human, you experience human limitations. When you identify as spirit, you experience spiritual power. The choice is yours, and the choice is made through the phrase, I am. When you say, I am spirit, you claim your divine inheritance. When you say, I am human, you claim your mortal limitations. The synthesis of power is also the understanding that the external world has no power over you. The external world is the effect, not the cause. The cause is your identity, the cause is your consciousness, the cause is your I am. When you understand this, you stop being a victim of circumstance. You stop being tossed around by conditions. You stop reacting to the world. You start creating the world. Holmes said, the world is your mirror. When you change, the world changes. When you claim a new identity, the world reflects a new reality. This is not philosophy. This is physics. This is the law of reflection. This is the science of self. The synthesis of power requires the integration of everything you have learned. The law of correspondence, the projector light, the identity shift protocol, the elimination of the dual identity, the master's tips, the quantum validation, the lived experience. All of these pieces come together into a single, unified understanding. You are the cause. You are not a character in someone else's story. You are the author of your own story. And the pen you use to write your story is the phrase, I am. Every time you use it, you are writing a new line. Every time you claim a new identity, you are writing a new chapter. And the story you write becomes the life you live. The message of empowerment is this. Stop acting like a guest in your own house. You are the owner. The furniture of your life, the money, the people, the health, can be rearranged whenever you wish. But first you must remember who you are. You are the cause. You are not the effect. You are not the victim. You are not the character. You are the writer. You are the director. You are the producer. And the movie you are producing is your life. Holmes came to remind you of this. He came to shake you awake from the trance of victimhood. He came to hand you the keys to the kingdom, and the kingdom is your consciousness. You have been conditioned to believe that you are small. You have been taught that you are powerless. You have been told that you must adapt to the world. But Holmes said, no, the world must adapt to you. You are not here to fit into a pre-existing reality. You are here to create a new reality. You are not here to accept conditions. You are here to command conditions. You are not here to survive. You are here to thrive. And the moment you accept this, the moment you claim this, the moment you live this, everything changes. The universe stops pushing against you and starts flowing with you. The law stops resisting you and starts serving you. The world stops limiting you and starts expanding with you. The message of empowerment is also a warning. You cannot play small and expect big results. You cannot claim victimhood and expect victory. You cannot identify with lack and expect abundance. The law is faithful. It will give you exactly what you claim. If you claim powerlessness, you will experience powerlessness. If you claim power, you will experience power. Holmes said, the law is no respecter of persons. It does not care about your past. It does not care about your circumstances. It only cares about your identity, and your identity is determined by what you put after I am. Therefore, choose wisely, choose consciously, choose powerfully. The message of empowerment is a call to action. It is not enough to understand these principles intellectually. You must apply them. You must live them. You must embody them. Holmes said, knowledge is not power. Applied knowledge is power. You can read every book. You can attend every seminar. You can listen to every lecture. But if you do not apply the identity shift protocol, nothing will change. The law responds to consciousness, not information. It responds to identity, not knowledge. You must become the cause, you must claim sovereignty. You must walk as the master, and you must do it now, not tomorrow, not next week, not when you feel ready, now. The message of empowerment is also an invitation. Holmes is inviting you to step into your true nature. He is inviting you to remember who you are. He is inviting you to reclaim your throne. You are not a beggar. You are a king. You are not a victim. You are a victor. You are not an effect. You are a cause. And the moment you accept this invitation, the moment you step through the portal, the moment you claim your sovereignty, your life will never be the same. The old patterns will dissolve. The old limitations will disappear. The old identity will die. And the new identity, the identity of the cause, will be born. The message of empowerment is that you are not broken, you are not damaged, you are not unworthy, you are whole, you are powerful, you are divine. The only thing that has been broken is your memory. You forgot who you are, you forgot your power, you forgot your divinity. But Holmes came to remind you. And this video is the reminder. You are the cause, you are the owner, you are the author. And the story you write from this moment forward is entirely up to you. The past is gone, the future is unwritten, the present is yours. And in the present, you have the power to claim any identity you choose. Choose wisely, choose powerfully, choose the cause. The message of empowerment is that the universe is not against you. The universe is not indifferent to you. The universe is for you. It is designed to support you. It is designed to fulfill you. It is designed to express through you. Holmes said, "The universe is a friendly place. When you see it as friendly, it becomes friendly. When you see it as hostile, it becomes hostile. The universe is a mirror. It reflects back to you the image you project. If you project fear, it reflects fear. If you project power, it reflects power. Therefore, project power. Project confidence. Project sovereignty. And watch the universe reorganize itself to match your projection. This is the message of empowerment. This is the truth. This is the science of self." The challenge is simple but profound. For the next 24 hours, you will practice what I call the I am diet. This is not a food diet. This is a consciousness diet. For 24 hours, you will never finish a sentence starting with I am with a negative word. You will only say I am strong, I am able, I am rich, I am healthy, I am powerful, I am the cause. Every time you catch yourself about to say I am tired or I am broke or I am stressed, you will stop. You will correct yourself. You will say the opposite. This is not lying. This is choosing which identity to reinforce. And for 24 hours, you will reinforce only the identity of power. This challenge will reveal to you how unconscious you have been. You will be shocked at how many times per day you use the phrase I am to limit yourself. You will catch yourself dozens of times. And each time you catch yourself, you will have a choice. You can continue the old pattern, or you can start the new pattern. The old pattern is victimhood. The new pattern is sovereignty. The old pattern is powerlessness. The new pattern is power. And the choice you make in each moment will determine the reality you create. Holmes said, "Life is a series of choices. Choose wisely." This challenge is your opportunity to choose wisely for 24 hours straight. The I Am Diet is not just an exercise. It is a test. It is a test of your commitment. It is a test of your discipline. It is a test of your willingness to be the cause. Most people will fail this test. They will say, "I forgot." They will say, "It was too hard." They will say, "I will try again tomorrow." But the master does not fail the test. The master passes the test. Because the master understands that this is not just a game. This is the mechanism of creation. This is the law of manifestation. And the master takes the law seriously. If you want to be a master, you must pass this test. You must complete the I Am Diet for 24 hours without breaking it once. If you complete the I Am Diet, you will notice something extraordinary. Your energy will shift, your mood will shift, your circumstances will begin to shift. Not because of magic, but because of mechanics. You will have spent 24 hours reinforcing the identity of power. And the law, being faithful, will begin to manifest the conditions that match that identity. You will start to see opportunities. You will start to feel confident. You will start to attract different people. You will start to experience synchronicities. This is not coincidence. This is the law responding to your new identity. This is the proof that you are the cause. The final CTA is this: subscribe to sacred logic to discover your true name. Your true name is not the name on your birth certificate. Your true name is the identity you claim after I am, and this channel is dedicated to helping you discover, claim, and live that identity. Every video on this channel is a tool for sovereignty. Every teaching is a key to the kingdom. Every principle is a law of creation. Holmes gave us the science. This channel gives you the application. Subscribe so you never miss a transmission. Subscribe so you stay connected to the frequency of power. Subscribe so you continue the journey from victim to victor, from effect to cause, from character to author. The challenge is also an invitation to community. In the comments below, share your experience with the I Am diet. Tell us what you discovered. Tell us what shifted. Tell us what you learned about yourself. This is not just a solo journey. This is a collective awakening. When you share your experience, you inspire others. When you declare your sovereignty, you give others permission to declare theirs. Holmes said, "We are all connected. When one person rises, we all rise." Your transformation is not just for you, it is for everyone who witnesses it. Therefore, share your journey. Share your breakthrough. Share your mastery. The final message is this: you are not here by accident. You are not watching this video by coincidence. You are here because you are ready. You are ready to remember who you are. You are ready to reclaim your power. You are ready to become the cause. Holmes is calling you. The law is waiting for you. The universe is ready to serve you. But you must take the first step. You must claim the identity. You must say the words, "I am the cause." And you must mean it. You must feel it. You must live it. This is the moment. This is the portal. This is the threshold. Step through it. Claim your sovereignty. Become the cause. And watch your entire life transform. The science is clear. The law is certain. The power is yours. Use it.